Vampire Girl. For the most part, we will see everything from this dude's perspective, and his name is Nanoka, but everybody calls him Kosuke, for whatever reason. When he falls asleep, he has specific fantasies with a female character of a game that he usually plays. I mean, that is nothing out of the ordinary. I also had several dreams with female characters from games, anime, etc. But hey, it's a fantasy, a dream, so not real and not harmful to anybody, and that is fucking awesome. Like I've mentioned, he has that kind of dream every night, ever since he started playing a game that seems to be a fighting game. Maybe it's a ripoff or an homage to Vampire Hunter or Vampire Savior? Night Warriors or Darkstalkers in the West. I mean, look at her and then look at Morrigan. Coincidence? I think not. And these dudes seem to be playing it on a Dreamcast based on the controller, at least from the back. But when looking at it from the front, like in here, it looks a bit more like an Xbox Classic controller. But if anything, it would have to be the Dreamcast, because no game from the Vampire Hunter franchise was ever released on an Xbox until the Xbox 360, but then again, they also seem to be talking about the DLC in this panel, so who knows? Or maybe I'm just making a big deal out of nothing and the controller he is holding is an NES one. The game is called Bubblicious 5000 and is actually a puzzle game or something. Well, the game he's playing is actually called Moonblood, but whatever. You know what? No, actually no, not whatever, because in the final pages, mangaka often leaves some notes behind to thank the readers and stuff like that. Ashiomi Masato did the same thing here, and among other things, while he doesn't specify anything, he does mention that the girl from the video game is indeed inspired by a video game character and a manga character. I don't know which manga, but when it comes to the game, I think he really used Morrigan as an inspiration. Well, where was I? Oh yes, ever since that game. Well, it's not really because of the game, but more specifically a fragrance he smells while playing the game. He has a dream about both of them doing it every single night. By both of them, I mean Kosuke and that girl character. A dream that feels seriously real to him, so he starts questioning what the hell is going on. Mainly because he always wears the same sports stuff in his dreams. After a few more nights, he comes to the realization that he technically is not even having sex with the girl from the game. He's just fantasizing about somebody else, but since he does not know the name of that somebody else, his brain is inserting the face of that girl from the game on the body of that somebody else. Kinda weird. But in the end, yeah, the brain can play some very weird tricks like that at times, but then again it would be weird and most likely a turn off if he was fucking some headless chick. Right? I guarantee it would turn me off. Whatever, he then starts suspecting his class representative called Yumino based on certain clues he got during his dreams. But, and here's a little twist, Yumino has also been having those kind of dreams about Nanoka's body, but with a different head. But in her case, it's mainly because when she bumped into somebody at school, she fell down and lost her glasses as well, broke the pot she was holding. And without her glasses, she sees everything really blurry and could only barely make out the body of the dude she bumped into, but not his face. Just by coincidence, they talk about it, find out the truth, start going out, and in the end have real sex together. So, all fine and dandy. Right? I mean, he had his dreams, she had her dreams, they come together because they were dreaming about one another without realizing it, and basically do it. Go all the way! But it's not the end yet, because there still is a last page of this, which I don't really get. Suddenly, Yumino, or at least the chick looks like her, is doing some kind of ritual to meet whoever and that it won't take long. And then I see hearts in front of her. So is this some kind of Bible Black thing where rituals play a big role and stuff with a bit of gore? Okay, I didn't expect that, so let's see where it leads. Or not. But she will appear briefly in the next stories as well. The next page revolves around the next set of characters. Red Strings. Here we find two people that have been friends for a very long time, Kanade and Kensuke. But Kanade seemingly believes in and can see the threads of fate. Not this one. Talking about red threads that supposedly connect two people together in some way, and in her mind, because she lacks determination, her string is not connected to anybody. Not only that, her string is fading away. She sees different people being together because of those threads, but she has nobody. After a rainy day and her disappointment in seeing Kensuke having his thread connected to somebody else that's not her, she walks home sad and without an umbrella, but Kensuke sees her along the way. Both walk to her apartment and have a chat about stuff, which is fine. I mean, why not? But at some point, what she brings up is the thread she supposedly can't see and is fading away. Much to Kensuke's surprise, since she can also see those threads. So can they both see threads in general? Seemingly, Kanade can see the threads from everybody, but can Kensuke do the same? Or can he only see the thread from the one he truly loves? Regardless, the message then turns into "fuck destiny and the red threads. I decide my own destiny." Roomless love. It would be really nice if I could stop time, because that is exactly what happens in this story. Two characters have some kind of time stopper when they are near each other that activates automatically. Well, at least I guess it does. Because it doesn't really get explained why and how it exactly works, but they have that ability somehow when they are near each other. They can stop time and do whatever they want. And yes, even fuck in front of everybody. After a while, Eri goes home and some punks want to do her, which is obvious. You know, they start with a "hey baby, let's get some hot chocolate," up to "come on, ditch that loser and be my girlfriend." At least one of the two punks does that. The second punk is just laughing his ass off because his body is being rejected big time. Well, I would actually do the same. But she actually has balls of steel. Maybe ovaries of steel. Yeah. And not only does she say no, she basically tells him that her boyfriend is a far better man than he will ever be. Oh snap! That was bold, girl! But just based on that, she deserves applause. When the loser punk is about to hit her because she hurt his precious feelings, time stopped yet again since her boyfriend was coincidentally nearby. Ah yeah, what a coincidence. A very weird coincidence if you ask me. It's almost as if it was planned. Whatever, he saves her ass and all ends in a good note with her not having any pantosu on for whatever reason, but I approve. Well, after she had her fun in the restaurant earlier, maybe she didn't have the time to put her pantosu on? Change the heart. This one was interesting indeed, and like all other stories, not only does it have a deeper meaning or there's a lesson to be learned, but it also has a supernatural element to it. Koji is a very happy man. He has a wife named Airi, he has a job, he enjoys his wife a lot. Life's good. Then there is a student called Kanako that has a big crush on him, but since he is married to Airi, she cannot get him. Or can she? One night fantasizing about him, her little music box starts glowing and Kanako finds herself in the body of Airi for some reason. Well, okay, not necessarily for some reason. Kanako wanted to have fun with Koji, and since he was having fun with Airi at that specific time, when the music box started glowing, Kanako found herself in the body of Airi, experiencing what Airi would experience while the real Airi, at least her soul or something, would be asleep. There is some really weird stuff in this Hentai manga for sure, but Kanako will learn a valuable lesson from all of this and understand how Koji actually feels about his woman and why Kanako will never get him. But funny thing is, similar to the first story, in the end there was a last page with some chick that looks like Yumiko performing some kind of ritual or something. Huh. What the hell is this all about? Well, we actually never get an answer to that, not in this final story, nor after it. Flower Road. In the final story, we get a dude called Ibuki that is a servant and gets a lot of shit from his superiors, even though he does not seem to mess up all that much. But oh yeah, I forgot, how could I forget? He gets a lot of shit just because he is a nobody. Yeah, obvious. Whatever, he has a crush on a girl called Karen, the successor of the whole family. She's a Karen! Just run, man! Seemingly she actually returns that feeling, but since she's a noble or something, she keeps it to herself. But then, there are 3 other maids around his age. After the 3 maids drink some juice together with him after work, they also have a little casual conversation as co-workers. But one of the maids mistakenly, of course, pours alcohol instead of juice onto the glasses, and then has a surprised Pikachu face when Ibuki gets drunk. Well, apparently he cannot take all that much. So the maids take advantage of him because they want a pipe. And yes, all of this is a setup. Still, what a lucky bastard, having fun with 3 hot maids at the same time. But Karen actually sees what they are doing and has no idea how to react to it, so she runs up to her room. Okay, she actually reveals why she ran up to her room, and it was not necessarily because she was upset seeing Ibuki having made fun. So, why was she actually upset? Well, on this one, find out for yourself. But since Karen is a noble or something, she has responsibilities, and after Ibuki gets thrown out for what he did with the maids, so yes, as I've mentioned, this was a setup by one of the rich old bitches, Karen gets a new rule presented by one of the old bitches. Or maybe the upcoming rule has always been a thing for generations in that family, who knows. The rule is, if Karen loses her virginity before midnight on the day before she turned 18, she only had a few minutes left, the family loses half their fortune, which is beyond fucking retarded. So to keep the whole fortune, Karen has to decide to marry a blood relative before her 18th birthday and needs to be a virgin, otherwise half the fortune is gone. Rich people are fucking stupid. At least according to the people that translated this hentai, but if the translation is 1-to-1, then rich people are fucking stupid. But oh boy, after Ibuki comes back because for some reason he thought he needed to interrupt the ceremony, she immediately decides to lose her virginity in front of everybody, and at the same time, the old hag was exposed for the bitch she actually is. So screw the fortune and get that motherfucking pipe. Nicely done, Karen. And in the end, Ibuki is the happiest man alive, and you will see why. Unlike the other stories, this one did not have supernatural stuff in it, but it certainly had a fucking retarded logic. I've read that part about the ceremony and the fortune and whatever around 5 times just to try to understand what was the fuck fucking idea behind all of it? I still don't get it. I guess this just means that rich people simply make up retarded rules all the time or something? Whatever. This was it. You know what I was thinking while reading through Illusion Girls and seeing those parts that didn't really go anywhere? To be specific, I mean that seemingly ritual stuff that supposedly happens with the girl that appears here and there throughout the chapters and those hearts she was standing in front of all the time. Maybe Ashiomi's idea is similar to the likes of Seto Yuki, meaning that he tells various stories involving the same characters through various manga of his. For example, Mizuho's story gets started in Stingendo, but it only ends in a different manga called Sutreta. That's what I'm thinking Ashiomi is doing here as well. Some characters seen here, like Yumeno or Kanade, may happen in another manga of his to continue their story, especially when his other works like Dream Channel or Loveless Labyrinth seem to be related with Illusion Girls. I might be completely wrong though, but we will see. In the end of the day, Ashiomi really knows how to draw beautiful bodies, tits and asses. Really great stuff to see, nothing too big, nothing too small. Well, outside of the girl from the time stop story that has small tits. He also got the dudes right, but in some parts he seemed to have had trouble. Sometimes he doesn't get the angles right or he completely enters the sloppy mode like in this example. I mean, yeah, these characters were nobodies, but come on. It seriously stands out in contrast to what he otherwise seems to be capable of, even though his drawing style, while good and I like it, it's not the best ever seen. And now the sex parts. Let's be honest, here is nothing more than vanilla stuff. It can be a bit adventurous like in the restaurant during the time stop story, I really liked that part, or even in front of the whole family in the last retarded story, but it's nothing all too special, which is fine with me, and basically all the girls have a small push as well. However, for Ashiomi the sex does not seem to be the most important part. He seems to emphasize more on how the girls' bodies look and their stories. Actually, that is a good thing to see, and yes, I think that he can write some nice stories. Well, he butchered it a bit with the last story, let's be honest, but up until then he had nice ideas and even conclusions. Especially the story with Kanako and her soul switching with Airi. That was a really good one actually. Stories like that make me want to see more of his work, to see what else he has up his sleeve. I appreciate the fact that he seems to look at hentai and thinks just sex with a brain-dead story. Nah, I can do better than that. Nice work overall on Illusion Girls.